All right. Hey, everyone. This is Chris Keys for Premier Guitar. Today, I'm joined by Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance. Solo stuff, most recently with the Future Violence, who just put out an EP, Heaven is a Place. This is the place. So he's joined us from New Jersey. I'm in Nashville. Frank, how you doing?
Doing good, Chris. How you doing, man? Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, real good, man. I appreciate you taking the time. And if anyone hasn't seen our Hooked video, which was awesome, that Frank did for us, you should check that out. But it made me instantly think, because he did Greg Ginn and Black Flag, Rise Above, which is a great tune. Glad to get that love out there for that band. But you had tons of gear, and I was like, man, we got to get Frank on a rig rundown. So here we go. We made it happen. I don't know where to really start, but I think I do, which is about a week ago, Frank, or maybe you didn't post it. I want to say Gary Holt, obviously Exodus and Slayer, shared a guitar. I don't know if you swapped it, traded, what the story is, but fill us in.
Yeah, so we, it's funny. I don't know how Gary and I kind of met, but, we've been talking and sharing, like stuff online, for about a year and a half, 2 years now. And he, he's a fan of My Chem, and I'm a fan of Slayer and Exodus. So I went to go see him play with Slayer when they played at MSG. He came out to the reunion My Chem show, and one day we were just talking, whatever, and I saw his signature model, and I was like, "Yo, Gary, this guitar is badass, dude. It's like really cool. Like I really love it. Like great job." Yeah. And he's like, "Oh man, we should do a gear swap. Like we should do a guitar change." I was like, "Oh, all right, yeah, that'd be amazing." So he was like, "Well, I have a signature model that I think would be perfect for you, and then you tell me what you're looking to get rid of." And I have a few guitars, so I sent him a picture of some of the stuff that I thought he might like, or that was a little off kilter, a little weird, and he wanted this Dan Armstrong, Ampeg Dan Armstrong reissue that I actually had acquired from Joby Ford from the Bronx. Okay. A while back, and you could see there's a video that the Future Violence did for the first single off the record, right? And in that video, playing the Dan Armstrong, and so he's like, "Oh, that'd be amazing! I'd love that. But you have to sign it." And I was like, "Oh no!" Like, I was like, "You sure you want me to ruin it like by putting my name on it?" He's like, "All right, we'll put it on the back and we'll clear coat it." And so he did the same, and yeah, I got his guitar and he got mine. But it's cool. Like, he's such a rad dude and such an amazing player. Such an inspiration too. I mean, he's such a motherfucker on the instrument.
Yeah,
this is the first.
He's awesome.
Oh, it's crazy, man. I've never had one before. This is my first Floyd Rose too, and so inevitably, all you want to do is just dive bomb. You know what I mean? But it's a great guitar, man. It plays really nice. The cool thing about it too is the neck shape on it. I'm used to. I like a nice C-shape neck shape. Okay. I have a Tele that my friend James Bowman gave me that's a V-shape that I really enjoy, too, for certain songs. But this guitar, it's strange, man. It's it's curved on the sides, but then it gets to, a flat point. So I guess that's more of a U-shape.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a hybrid of sorts.
Yeah, it's nothing like I've ever experienced before, and I love it. It's crazy, man. I mean, I was scared when it came to Floyd Rose. It just looks like Bane's mouth. So I was like, I don't know, if I want to fuck with that. I mean, there's too much involved. But now that I have one and I've been messing with it, it's rad. It really is rad.
It's cool. You get a fresh color to paint with now when it comes to guitar tones and guitar styles.
Absolutely. And that's the cool thing too, man. Is I've always found when writing songs or recording, inevitably you're gonna hit some sort of wall or some sort of writer's block. And for me, I just always love to have things around me that inspired, different neck shapes, different pickup configurations, just stuff that looks appealing and has a history to it, has a soul to it. It's sometimes it's as easy as picking up a different instrument and you're going to break down or open up a door that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, man, go ahead and put that one down. I want to talk about that Fender you kind of played on the way in, that beautiful new, was it a two-tone blue burst?
This is that new American Professional 2.
Okay.
That Fender put out. I love this guitar. They sent me, this is the Dark Knight finish. So to me, I just call her Batman. But it's crazy, man. I don't know if you can see like the sparkle. It's like a black to blue kind of fade.
Oh yeah.
The two things though that really sold me on this guitar and the playability of it is this panorama tremolo system is so reactive, and it's unlike any other tremolo system I've played. I really love that. And then something else that's so simple but such an amazing genius move is to taper this butt, neck groove right here. So, you know, I mean, how many times have you slid up, you know, past that 12th fret, and then you just go dead?
Yeah.
You get a point to your palm.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it sucks, man. It stays there for a week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, what did I do? But this, I mean, it's so comfortable, man. You can get up pretty high, too. So, this guitar, I love what Fender's doing. I mean, you know, top of the game. They really are. Every time they reinvent, you know, the wheel, it's like, shit, man. Why didn't anybody else think of that?
It's funny because people will say, you know, why does Fender or any company of that stature that's been around that long, why do they keep coming out with the same, on the surface level, the same body shape, you know, Fender, Tele, Strat, but they're coming up with different tweaks that, you know, to a player or someone that gets intimate with the instrument will appreciate, like the tremolo system upgrade, the carve on the neck joint there. Those little tweaks make a difference.
I agree. And that's the thing, too. You know, Chris, I mean, I feel like, you know, there's certain things like, yeah, like these body shapes, but like an offset, like everyone's copying that. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's classic, and there's a reason why it's withstands the test of time. You know what I mean? There's something about these shapes, just like, you know, like a Les Paul shape. You know what I mean? You're going to see that over and over and over again. But there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know? And these types of body shapes are just more comfortable for me, I think.
Now, what about like strings and tunings? I'm sure it varies between the different projects and even albums with like the stuff you've done solo and My Chemical Romance. People probably familiar with your string theory videos, so they know you're Ernie Ball guy. But what about tunings and like gauges? Is there anything you kind of stick to, or are you all over the place?
I do. You know, it's funny when My Chem was first getting going and touring and stuff like that. I was playing, you know, whatever I could get cheap string-wise, but I would do 13.
Wow.
So it was like a 13 to, I mean, I want to say 54.
Okay.
Like, you know, and now I wonder why I have, like, you know, carpal tunnel. But I think for me, what I really liked about it was having that wound third, because a lot of the octave work that I was doing in that band, there's a lot of, like, octave leads throughout those choruses. Mm-hmm. And just that thickness kind of would cut through, and also I wasn't breaking as many G strings, so that was kind of helpful. But now in my older, more gray years, I've come down. I'm now 11 to 50, 11 to 52.
Okay.
If I do a drop tuning, I'll try to compensate, and maybe I'll go to 54 on that. But I like to keep the tops a little bit thinner. If I can be at a 10 to 50, that's fantastic. But you know, that's like studio for me. Like when I'm on stage, I need a little bit more.
You need a little bit more, like a little more pushback. Now, what about tunings?
Tunings, for the most part, see, like when My Chem started, we were all just standard, you know, E standard. For solo stuff, I'm usually in a half step down.
Okay.
So E flat standard. And that tuning, or actually on this one that I just showed you, that song that I played is a song called the Resurrectionist. That's off of an album called Parachutes. And what I do in that song, it's a tuning that I like to mess with, is I drop the low E down to, so that's, now I'm in a C sharp. And then I also drop the high. So what you have now is 3 C sharps throughout the guitar, right? Mm-hmm. And it allows me to kind of get these like little drags, which I tend to like to do. Like this, like I love this drony, kind of a little bit dissident. You know, you're gonna get that. It's a little bit off and a little bit kind of rubs, but in just a wonderful way. I think for me, the stuff that I've always just been the stuff that kind of really did it for me, or that like really made me want to play guitar and to write songs, was the stuff that was just a little bit broken. Like I've never been one for, I can't wait to hear this band live. I hope it sounds just like the record. Like I don't I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like I want to hear the mistakes. I want to hear that string noise. Like I want to hear that rub. In between notes. I've even gone as far as sometimes I'll wear like a pinky ring on this hand, so you get some of that like.
Oh yeah.
Like you somehow get it. You just kind of get like this extra little gunk in there.
It's kind of like when we did a rig rundown at the Edge, his tech said that he plays with the pick with the jagged side because it gives a little bit more extra scrape with it. He plays these Herco picks that have like that grippy stuff on them, and he plays with the side, so it kind of gives that little more extra scratch. Just like a little bit, but he did it and he showed us, and it's like, wow, you hear it. It's funny. It's something simple like that, you hear it, and it's different.
I love that. Like just a little bit of gravel, something to kind like things that are broken in the best way possible, or things that are just special and can't be recreated every time. Like I love that shit. That's the stuff that that keeps me going, and that I love to pick apart about my favorite records.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite stuff. I think that's why I have so much old broken gear, because things are broken in like the best possible way.
They got a story to tell.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I like scars. I do.
Well, I'll let you grab another guitar. I'll let you choose which one I'll talk about next. But as you do that, I'm going to throw a question at you that I've been wanting to ask, because as you guys are coming up, just like any DIY punk hardcore band, they were grabbing any gear they could get, whether it's Epiphone or any, gear that would work and stay true on tour. But now, as we're seeing and we're finding out here, and anyone that follows you, you're kind of a gearhead and you got a collection. So when did that change, besides funds, like availability of finances? What made you start click where you kind of shifted from like, I just want to use what works, till now I'm going to start chasing stuff I like?
Well, I think, what happens is you start to grow up and investigate, why do I like certain records? Why do I like certain sounds? What's being played here? What's happening? Who's behind the recordings of these records that make you feel a certain way? And I think in doing that and being in more studios and working with more people, you start to see the gear that's around, and how it can really shape the way a song comes forth, and how that song makes people feel. I think growing up, it was always like, oh, fuck it, man. Does it have like 6 strings on it? Just give me it. I can make some noise out of it, and I'm gonna play. And that's great. But I think the older you get, and the more, like, if you really love the craft of it, you're gonna start to get more into, all right, but why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I like the way this guitar sounds? Why do I like, why do I not just want to have a metal zone? You know what I mean? Taped to the floor anymore. Which, that's how I started, and that's fucking awesome. A lot of people are still there, and that's great. Yeah. Like, you can make a lot of great sounds with shit gear. You know what I mean? Like, some people spend thousands and thousands of dollars to try to get a shitty tone. Like, you know what I mean? And that's cool, man. Like, if that's what you like, fuck yeah. But there's certain things that and certain people, I think, you meet along the way that are just geniuses at their craft, and like, whether they're boutique pedal people or guitar makers or amp makers or techs and stuff like that drop little bits of knowledge on you, and then you get bit by that bug and the chase is on.
Yeah, man. I call those people like those people that help you along the way, like guitar guardians, that they help reignite the fire, whether it's about getting gear or creating.
This is true. They're also dealers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're definitely facilitators. So what's this one you got in your hands here?
This is a Fender Squier Jazzmaster Baritone in Antigua. And the reason I pulled this one out is because I remember early on touring with the first incarnation of my solo band. It was called Frank Iero on the Celebration. We had toured over in Canada, and we went to this mall, and they had like not a Guitar Center, but like a smaller boutique, that had guitars and stuff like that. And they had this guitar. And I was like, oh, man, that's really cool. Antigua has always been one of those things where I was like, I don't know if I can pull it off, but I think it's kind of cool from afar. And I just sat down with this guitar and started to play on it, and I never really played a baritone guitar before. That day, I got bit on. I was like, oh man, I started writing songs like in the store. I was like, I think I need to bring this home. So I didn't want to like deal with the border and all that stuff. So I called people at Fender. I was like, hey, listen, I'd love to purchase this if I can, have it sent to my house when I get home. And they did. And I mean, Fender's just always been amazing to work with. But playing on this baritone, I started to write songs, and I think it took me a while to see how I can incorporate that into the band I was singing in, and it all started to come to fruition, I think, on the third record, Barriers, because there's quite a few songs on that record, and in the new EP, Heaven is a Place, This is a Place, that the baritone kind of comes alive on, and one of those is the song Violence, and that's another song that people kind of ask me a bunch. Like, what is the tuning on that, and how is that played? And that song in particular is on a baritone. It's an A sharp, and so B.
Let's hear it.
Flat, and yeah, so. And that riff just kind of goes through the song. But it's one of those things where I think that song bounced around quite a bit, in different tunings, trying to figure out, like, what's the best tone for this song? Like, what kind of voicing do we need? And when I started playing it on the baritone and that tuning, I think that's when everything kind of came together.
Man, it's funny because, in your early interviews with My Chem, you would say that, you're just thankful to be in a band that you can play guitar and you didn't have to worry about singing and playing guitar and, I guess, overcomplicating things. But obviously with the solo project, you're doing both, doing it well. And it's funny because we've never met, but we're kindred spirits because we're both Misfit fans. I'm from the Midwest, so no connection to New Jersey. But your singing is very Danzig-esque. Not like 20 Eyes Danzig, but like American Nightmare Danzig, like that Elvis howl. So you got some singing chops, man.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's funny that you mentioned that because the other song on the Heaven EP is a song called Sewer Wolf, and that was the song that was like, all right, I wrote this song. I don't know if it's in our wheelhouse. Like, how do we pull this off? And it sounds to me like, the person that should sing the song is Danzig. You know what I mean? And that song it's really fun, man. It's just like that. Let's see here. And that chorus, like, you have to just have this, like, bravado about you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, sing, like, I am the evilest motherfucker in the world. And that's like what is being channeled, I feel like, in that song, because it's so tough.
And then in between Violence and Sewer Wolf, there's a cover of R.E.M. So just in case you're not, everywhere in between.
But that's the thing. I feel like that EP, like, it's just 4 songs, but it's my record collection in 4 songs.
It's awesome.
You know what I mean? It's like, awesome. Yeah. So those are all my influences, man. That's where I came from. It's funny to me that people can be like, only interested in one genre or like only listen to this specific thing or only play this specific thing. Like, that would be so boring to me.
Yeah.
Like life with one flavor of ice cream.
Seems like one short road to be on. Like it.
Yeah, it's stunted, And I think that was always the thing for me was like, I grew up with my dad he was a drummer in a blues band, and I'd go see him on the weekends. And my grandfather was a drummer in like a Dixieland band, and he also played like like 40s and 50s standards. And so like I would go see them all the time. And then growing up where I grew up in Belleville, which was like an hour and a half away from my dad, like I found out about punk rock and hardcore. So I had like all these things kind of washing through me. And I just loved music so much. I just loved the craft, and these songs just made me feel, and that was what was so amazing to me. It was like this language that I was getting into, and when I started to draw the comparison between like say like my dad's music and like like DIY like punk rock and hardcore, was like, oh, he loves blues. That was like this music that was written for each other, like recorded in a basement with one microphone, like, and the bands that I was listening to, like, was the same thing. Like, they were recording in their mom's basement, like, like doing it just DIY. And I was like, oh man, like this is where we can connect, like I found the music that speaks to me. And I feel like, it's the same kind of thing that my dad's going through.
Yeah. And it's funny, 'cause I'm sure you've done that to kids too, with MCR, like you've engaged people to pick up the instrument and try their hand at making music too.
That's the greatest thing when you hear that, when a person will come to a show and be like, oh man, like, I listened to this record and it made me want to play guitar, or it made me want to write songs, or made me want to sing. Like, fuck, that's the greatest thing in the world. Because here's the thing, like, I never really thought about it until that stuff started to happen. But, you can create art and, put it in your pocket and say, like, all right, like, it doesn't affect anybody else. It doesn't come back to you. But once you put it out there and it starts to take on its own life and meet other people along the way and have this influence, and that ripple effect goes out, like, that's the most incredible thing about art, is when it comes back to you like that. And so for me, like, I always thought, like, oh, you finish a song, you write it, you record it, you put it out, like, oh, you're done. No. That's just where it starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's I think what keeps us doing this, is that exchange of creativity.
Well, man, what other guitar you want to talk about? We see some beautiful ones there lined up. Well, I'll let you dealer's choice.
This is like a parts caster that I kind of ended up finding along the way on tour in a shop in Cincinnati. The body is like a 50s Jazzmaster. Of course, the pencil mark has years been painted over, and it's kind of hard to figure out an exact date on it. The neck, though, is like a 90s Fender neck, so it's kind of all over the place. But there's a soul about every instrument. No two are alike. They have these little idiosyncrasies and just special little magic about them. So when you find one, that connects and kind of blows your hair back, like a Harry Potter when he found his wand, you can't walk away.
Well, the guitar chooses you, right? I mean, if we're gonna use that parallel with Harry Potter.
I think so. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if that's true?
Yeah.
So, I guess for this one, my go-to distorted tone is usually a Boss Blues driver that has a Keeley mod in it.
Okay.
And I've just always loved that tone for you're just a regular distortion, or like if you're going to I like the quiet, loud dynamic. So and usually what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of delay on. I like the DM2, Boss DM2. I also sometimes will add in a little chorus, and that somehow gives me like, it's almost like a digital vibe. I mean? Like you get that kind of wobble that I really enjoy. But lately, I've been going to Sneak Pedals. Has made this thing. It's called a VHD. I have 2 of them because I like them so much, and I didn't want one to break and not to have an extra. But my friend Scott makes these pedals, and they're great, man. I ended up using it for when I was doing this live stream for that band Thursday, my friend's Thursday, and for some reason I just felt like it fit their songs a lot better than, say, like what the Blues Driver was doing. And it's a little bit wider. That's that with the chorus off, but you can see how it's a little bit more spread out, has a little bit more, I guess, mid-range to it. But these 2 are kind of fighting for my favorite distortions for like a song at the moment.
It's funny because you've had that Blues Driver as part of your formula for a long time.
Forever, man. And it's funny. Like I'm wondering how the VHD is gonna live in, like, say, like the MyChem world. Because right now I feel like that Blues Driver has been such a part of the tone, and it's been very complimentary to Ray's tone. So I'm wondering how this is gonna work out if I bring the VHD in. but I like experimentation like that. So let's see. What do you want to hear? So
it sounds great. Now that guitar you got, did you buy it with the 50s and the 90s combination, or did you do that yourself?
I bought it as a Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, is I feel like, not to like give this away, because I feel like I'm gonna say this, and then anytime I walk into a guitar shop, they're gonna be like, oh, get the shitty broken ones and put like a high price tag on it, because he can't turn them down. But like, it's true. When I see something that I've never seen before, and that's, just unique in its own way, like you're never going to see this combination again, because it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be, and when I bought it too, like the pick guard was wrong, like everything was fucked up and broken about it, but it played the way I needed it to play. And there was like this weird feeling. To be honest, I think I plugged it in for like 30 seconds, and I was like, all right, that's fine. Like, it makes noise. All right, cool. I can fucking work with the rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's one of those things where, like, I can't imagine not having this guitar. It's really strange. I can't tell you how many songs have come out of just having this, at my side.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like what it's about. I know we're a show dedicated to gear, but if you're not creating and it's not inspiring to you, what's the point of having it? Now, I see a white Les Paul-ish guitar there, and I know it's not Pansy because I see the diamond peg head. So maybe we should talk about that one, because Pansy is such an important one, the Epiphone elitist. So what's the story behind this one?
For a while, I feel like that's all I played. Were these these white or Alpine white Les Paul. Either it was going to be like the Epiphone elitist that they would send. A couple of times, I think a couple of customs, or mostly studios, just ended up into my hands. I don't know. I mean, it's weird that much of my life is a blur, that I don't even know how these guitars came about. They were just like, oh, there's one there, And it's weird, man. Like, I think I just got so sick of playing the same guitar over and over again that I was just like, I wanted to run far, far away from it. And at that same time, Epiphone came to me, and we made our own guitar together. So I did the Phantomatic, and I played those exclusively for a while. And I feel like the older I got, I was like, oh, man, like, that was kind of my thing, you know? Like, and I didn't have one. And I was like, oh, shit, like, it made me long for one. And I was like, you know, if I ever come across the right one, I think it'd be nice to have one just in the house again. You know what I mean? Yeah. And recently, this one came about. It came up for grabs through Thunder Road. And Frank Gross hit me up, and you know, he was like, hey, you know, this might be the one for you. It's, I believe it's a 91 or 92. Hold on. I think it's a 92.
Okay.
So it's a 92. It plays great. I think, you know, I did a quick setup on it when it came in, but she's been fighting me to stay in tune. But I think I'm gonna get a handle on her in the next couple of weeks. Sometimes they just, you know, like it's like breaking a Bronco a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you gotta kind of let them lead themselves to water, and then they become yours. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to play a Paul again. It's weird, man. Like,
I'm sure the weight too, man. Like, cause you guys have such high, or you did, and I'm sure you still continue. But back in the day, you guys had such high energy shows, jumping off drum risers and stuff. Where, you know, carrying around the Les Paul or Les Paul style guitars, that's a lot of weight around your neck.
It is, and I think too, you know, in 2016, like I was in an accident in Australia, and it tore my shoulder. So I still have this slap tear that goes on, and dude, it fucking kills. There's like, you know, if I play for too long or like just, I don't know if you guys got hit real bad, but like we got 20 plus inches of snow the other day.
Damn.
And so like just trying to like kind of get a door open, like I had to like go out and try to do it. And for days I feel like somebody ripped my arm off my body. Like it's fucked up, really horrible. So yeah, it's not fun. Getting old is not fun. Getting hit by buses is not fun either. But so,
man, it rips. It sounds good. Even though, you know, she's a little shaky in the tuning, it still sounds great.
right, yeah. I think another couple of days work, and she's going to be fucking fantastic. I'd love to bring her back out on tour when hopefully touring starts again soon. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to carry around like this albatross of weight. I'm excited to see how long I can play it for on stage.
Now as we're getting towards the end of guitars, and we'll get into what we're hearing at amps and stuff. And, you know, obviously you've been playing with pedals already, but alluding to the touring season, if and when it comes back, I should say when, are you going to bring all this out, or are you going to be more of a economic guy and go like Axe FX or Kemper?
You know, it's funny, man. I've always been a believer in bringing, you know, your gear, your real gear and stuff like that. And I think that the more I get into collecting, right, and loving the way like, you know, vintage stuff sounds. I have a couple of different setups that like, oh man, I love the way this sounds in the studio. I bring it to record, but it kills me to bring it outside the house, because if I bring it to a gig, ultimately something goes down, you know. And touring, especially like overseas and stuff like that, it's rough, man. So I think what I'm going to do for the, say, like the long, you know, overseas touring and worldwide touring, is to copy my amps for like a Kemper and do that. Because really what I've been doing is I have a Marshall Super Lead that has that Dookie mod in it. And that's a head that I used with Rob Cavallo, on I would say the last 3 MyChem records, or the last 2 MyChem records rather. And so that would be a lead or a main tone as well as a Fender Tonemaster. And so those 2 I'm going to mod and carry those with me, and then I'll bring out my Fender Twin as my clean tone.
Cool, man. Well, I see another, I think it's an Epiphone over there sitting in the boat.
Yeah. This is great, man. I love what they're doing now. Like they just released this Coronet, and my friend James Bowman got one and brought it over to my house. I was like, oh my god, it's great, man. Like it reminds me of you know, like the '60s Coronets that I had one, and they were nice enough to send one over, and it's cool. It's a great guitar. It's super fucking light. Affordable. I think the going price is like maybe $450.
That's
on
nice.
This thing, you know. And I feel like, you know, if you're looking for that, you know, junior feel, like that one like single P90, and something that's affordable that you can kind of rip on, it's a great guitar. It really is.
Yeah, and something with like that price, even if you're not happy with some of the features on it, whether it's the tuning pegs or even the pickup itself, it's something you can go build upon and customize to your own liking.
The only thing I've replaced so far is I traded out the bridge, and I feel like that's given me a little bit better of control on the intonation. But I may look into replacing tuning pegs. We'll see. But I mean, they're just super fun. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, some guitars you have to work hard to kind of get what you want out of it, and she works as hard as you do. You know, it's nice with these guitars.
The P90s are great too. It's like that instant punk rock machine.
Oh god, yeah. But she can also get kind of spacey and nice with you. So, I mean, I think it's versatile and affordable, and I think they're great guitars for someone to have. I wish they had this available when I was, you know, growing up looking for it.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have you put back on the Fender two-tone, the first one you played there, the American Pro 2, and we'll start talking the amps we're hearing today. There's a bunch of them behind you, but we'll keep it to the ones that are behind you, or the ones that we're hearing. I'm sorry, the ones that we're hearing today, and then we'll dive into your pedal boards, which I have to say it's great. You know, you got the Eddie Van Halen colors on that one.
Yeah, man. My friend Anthony, who makes Black 35 guitars, man, he did this special pedal board for me, and it's awesome. it's so great. You know, we talked about doing a guitar and a matching pedal board, you know, like based off of Eddie's Frankenstein, and then literally as soon as we like got the specs down, like I would say like a week later, Eddie passed. It was fucking weird. Really weird. Now,
you're typically, at least back in the day or with MCR, I knew you to be like a British guy in amps with like a Thunderverb or something from Orange and always an AC30 for clean. Now, is that still the case today or going forward? And then also, what are we hearing today in your jam space?
So right now, I'm just out of the Fender Twin. And I mean, as far as amps go, like when I was touring with the solo project, what I would do was I had the Fender Twin and a Supro Black Magic that's back here. And those two amps together kind of gave me a little bit more of like the weight and grit that I was looking for, but also, you know, wasn't getting me into fights with sound guys and smaller clubs. So that's always a fun thing to not have to deal with. You know, right now, the Twin's on 2, and I can get it to scream.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's a reason why they're you know, trusted and tried and true. I mean, you know, a Fender Twin is a Fender Twin. So I love the Twin for cleans, and I love the way it reads pedals and reacts. So that's usually my go-to amp. If I'm doing touring on my own, it's going to be that and the Supro. For my chem, it's as of right now, it's the Twin for clean tones, and for like, you know, sometimes I'll do this thing where I think you heard it a little bit before. I did like a Marshall Blues Breaker for like it's got a little bit of dirt on it. Forgot what tuning I was in. So you're going to have that as like a little bit of a distorted tone, but it's not overwhelming, so that you can kind of take it from here. And you can kind of bring it up and down, you know, which is kind of nice. So I'll do stuff like that, but for the most part, from the distorted tone is going to be the Marshall Super Lead with the Dookie mod and the Fender Tone Master kind of mixed together. I like that tone.
Cool, man.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, as far as pedals go and things that I like to keep on the board that I think are pretty imperative to, like, you know, certain tones. Like I said, I love the Boss Blues Driver with the Keeley mod. I know that they've done their own pedal since. I think it's called the Fat Lead, PHAT, Fat Lead kind of thing. And it's good, but I think there's just something about my original modded out Blues Driver. Even though I've sent it to them twice, and they're like, I don't. It's the same, and I'm like, okay, but there's something about this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm probably just crazy, but I love that. The other thing that I fought for so long and didn't want to believe the hype on is the Klon Centaur. You know, it's one of those things where unless you have one or you have a trusted friend that plays one for you and includes it on their board, you're not going to really understand it or get it. It's always on, and it always adds something. One of the things, though, that I've noticed is, you know, so many people make Klon clones, right? Yep. And I have a lot of them, just to see, you know, like, what's special about this? What's different about this? Does it capture what the original? And the only one that I feel like has come close has been Bowman. James Bowman makes pedals. He, of course, plays guitar in Against Me, but he started Bowman Audio Endeavor, and it's crazy, man. Like, I don't know if you want to hear just a quick little
let's hear it.
Back and forth here, but so this is just the amp, right? So this is a Gold Horsey. So that's the original, and then this is his. A little bit brighter, but I mean, sometimes it depends on the song, but sometimes it beats it. It's crazy. I love what he's done, and I don't know how he cracked it, but he's a fucking genius, and all his pedals are great. So that's one that's always on the board as well.
What about, I know you used to advertise it as a secret weapon, which then it's not a secret weapon because you'd always tell people, but the Swollen Pickle, is that still a staple?
You know, it's funny. The Swollen Pickle I gifted to my brother-in-law, Evan, and he was using it on Celebration, Patience, and Future Violence tours, and I never got it back. So I've been trying to I still love the pickle, but there's other things that I've found that I think are pretty damn cool. But yeah, I don't know. That Swollen Pickles. That's a pretty good. I think I might need to get that back.
As we kind of go, I'll let you lead us through it because you can see everything and you're driving the ship here. Tell us is this like a amalgamation of everything you do, or is this more like a My Chemical Romance board, or is this more of like a solo thing? And just show us some of your favorite combinations and sounds that you like to kick on.
Well, right now this is the quarantine boards.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? There's this one. I basically just kind of linked them all up for this, right? But this board here in particular was the one that I was taking out and I did for, say, like the Thursday shows. I did like 2 Thursday live streams on this and a couple and some recording stuff. And this, what I like about it, I have this Carl Martin Octa switch on here that allows me to switch multiple pedals on and have different tones set up in 8 different switching mechanisms. And that was fun because I think for the Thursday stuff there was a lot of pedal dancing happening. But what I love, like I said before, is having that VHD with a little bit of delay. And it's funny, man. The Ibanez Tone Lock pedals, they don't get a lot of love. But I feel like they're so just like an unsung hero of the 90s. I love them all. I have the Chorus Flanger one, the Delay Echo one, and I have a Fuzz too. But these 2 usually are on the board doing some fun stuff. Is the Chorus
one you use for Fever Dream? Because there's a real rich chorus in that on the song Fever Dream.
Yeah,
it's almost like a Come As You Are vibe. Like it has that Nirvana really stroked out chorus.
You're right. Yes. So, I mean, I love these, like, the 90s Ibanez Tone Lock pedals. I have the DE7, which is the Delay Echo. I have the CF7, which is the Chorus Flanger, and then the Fuzz, I think it's an FZ7 or something like that. But the Chorus Flanger and the Delay Echo are always on board. And I think that they capture it, man. There's something about these pedals, and also too. I mean, I don't want to say this and ruin anything, but I feel like they take a licking and keep on ticking kind of thing, which is kind of nice. Like the Boss enclosure. I don't run into a lot of problems with those things. Which, by the way, I would like to put this out there. How come you can't just buy those fucking thumb screws for a Boss pedal along with the rubber grommet? Why can't you just buy those? What the fuck?
I'm just asking.
I'm just asking. I don't understand.
Well, Frank, show us maybe as you go through your pedal boards, kind of show us some like key combinations that people might be familiar with in your stuff, or even if you've been really vibing on some new sounds during quarantine. One
of the things I got recently was a couple of Strymon pedals, and I've always liked the power supplies and stuff like that, and Ray was always messing with the Big Sky, and I admired them from afar. But recently, I picked up a few in this Iridium pedal, which is basically like an amp mod that you keep on your pedal board. It has been great for recording, but also too like it's nice to just kind of have going. Like if you just really like a very nice scene change. And what I like about it too is that it has a built-in reverb as well, and that you can add to it. Like the different amp combinations and cab combinations is really cool. Let's see. So that was, I think the round is based on maybe an AC30. I'm not sure. The punch, I think though, is like a Marshall. So that would be this. So that is the I think the punch, which is the Marshall amp through the B cab with its own, room on there, which is fucking, it's crazy, man. Just like a built-in pedal, and it really does record well. So I'm into that. The other things I've been liking is this Volante, another Strymon.
Yeah. Those Strymon pedals are like powerhouses.
Yeah, there's so much that you can do that it really does scare me because there's so many buttons. You know what I mean? But at the same time, man, it's like, shit. Like there's so much cool stuff on here. Let's see. And that was so that's the Volante Strymon pedal, along with this Fuzzlord Drone Master, which I like too as a distortion.
Those dance real well together.
Let's see what else. Another thing I really like is this this Pearl Chorus, which is like an old 70s. Let's see here, which I think is Japan. I think it was made in Japan.
Are there any other pedals on any of these boards that you haven't talked about or played or mentioned, just to make it equal opportunity here?
I hear you. No, there's a lot. I think I spoke about most of them.
Okay.
To be honest. That feels a little bit better. Sorry. What the fuck? Sorry. So that's that Pearl Chorus with just a little Fender delay, or Fender reverb rather, and that Fortune and Glory is another Bowman pedal that I like. But yeah, I mean, as far as these boards are concerned, this is like the at home in this room one. This is the more like recording board because it has all the Strymon Iridium on there and like a couple other El Capistan and the Flint on there. And then this is the live board that I was bringing out to do like live streams and things of that.
Now with Thursday, were you just helping out, or are you kind of like a Proco member now?
I think it's one of those things where we kind of like grew up playing all these shows and venues together, and we shared practice studios, and we've just known each other for so long that it was just really amazing to be asked to help out and fill in for Tom, who is an incredible guitar player and songwriter in his own right. And it was just, it's what I loved so much about it was, I love that band. I love the songs that they write. I love them as people. But getting to play those songs and really getting into the mindset of, how these things were written, how they came to be, just gave me such a new appreciation for the band that, it's strange, man. You can know somebody for 100 years and when you don't get into their mind creative, like you know them on a different level.
As a musician, that's about as close as it can get to, when people say walk a mile in my shoes. It's like play a song on my guitar. You know what I mean? Like it's you're able to see where they were at and feel what they were thinking.
It's the best way to know somebody without fucking them.
Well, on that note, Frank, hopefully we see MCR out on the road, because I was looking forward to it at Riot Fest. You know, obviously that happened last year and it's gotten parlayed to 2021. But if people want to keep up with you, keep up with the band, keep up with your solo stuff, where should they go online? Is there any place that you know got you stuff to check out?
Well, I have the Twitter and I have the Instagram type thing going. I got a website. I don't know if people even go to websites anymore.
I hope they come to ours. I hope.
But yeah, you know, I'm around.
Cool, man. Well, I really do appreciate it, man. Taking the time. I know that you're busy doing stuff. You got family stuff to take care of. You're shoveling snow. Hey, man, I appreciate your time and setting this all up. This is a treat.
It was an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone out there, stay safe and keep rocking.